street. I mean, what an awesome deal for our young guys, for our staff, for the program. I mean, Heinz is the quintessential DNA of a pro. A guy who's got a character DNA that fits the mold, I think, of what Coach is trying to build, and kind of the family that I signed up for not too long ago as well. I'm pretty familiar with what it took to recognize what it is that makes a coach want to be around certain people. And I think that the process we went through with Kenny, me and him, evaluating the long list of guys, and there was a lineage of really respected, traveled, young, up-and-coming, bright wide receiver coaches that wanted this job. And it took us a while to get through it a little bit, but when his name popped up, I think just to know what that took as far as a guy who can communicate, a guy who's been there, a guy who can connect, a guy with amazing standards, poise, who can give our guys the definition of consistency, I think is probably at the end of the day what we were looking for. And I couldn't be more fired up. I've known who he's worked for in the NFL with some guys and buddies of mine. I know he's worked for in college. I've got a pretty good background on that, the coaching piece and what he's about. And we shared a lot of conversations while he was here. And so awesome fit, man. Couldn't be more fired up for our guys.
How about the quarterback play? Didn't seem as good today as it has been previously.
Yeah, it gives me a chance to get after him a little bit. Yeah, I started reading their press clippings a little bit. I think that's the beauty of kind of the initial stages of putting the whole thing together and the identity. You know, we pressed the gas pretty good the other day and got after it and did a really nice job. And then today you got to come back and you got to do it again. And I think of the infant stages of putting it together, that was the challenge today even before coming out here, was you got to be able to stack practices. You got to stack good days. You got to go back-to-back weeks. You got to be able to kind of get your back padded on by coach and see some good film and then come back the next day and rally, knowing that the defense or the opponent's watching you. Now they've got their necks bowed and ready to roll. And I think that's been the awesome part of this camp so far, is both sides of the ball are going back and forth and they're battling. This is one of the most competitive camps in the early stages of a program I've been a part of, and I've been a part of a lot of programs. I think for year two to be where they're at and how they practice and compete says a lot about the program and where guys are going, where we're headed, how we're coaching, how they're responding, and I'm fired up. And I'm fired up to get after the quarterbacks too.
What excites you about this wide receiver room now, especially that you guys have added Hines? What Jordan Tyson had a great day today. What about this room excites you?
Well, I mean, the guys in the room there's a skill set in the room. There's some youth too. There's a lot of youth, so there's a ton of room to grow. I like the character of the kids that are in there. I think it's a great group. I think they gel well together. I think there's a talent pool in there, but again, character sets the floor. You know, talent, everything that works through that. I think the guys in there care about being good. I think you add Hines to it, and you've got a young group with a ton of talent, and an experienced guy who knows and been through it, and has some consistency, has some care. Has obviously a demand without probably being real demeaning, and I think that's an important piece of being able to connect with the room. And so that room's about to explode, and I'm really excited about it.
What specifically about Jordan Tyson have you seen? Because he's really ramped it up in the last week or so.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously just meeting Jordan for the first time, and from what I've been the short time we've been together, a kid who's, I can tell, he's been forthcoming about his maturity, and that's been really good. I mean, again, the talent piece has got to be second in my evaluation, because there's a lot of guys who are really talented who can't do this on a consistent basis. There's something that doesn't allow them to keep going and pushing through the mental, physical, or emotional toughness it takes for this game. For him to be so forthcoming about his maturity and wanting us to be good, his ability to relate, he works really hard. Like, you come out to practice, the guy works. Again, I haven't said anything about the talent about it. I mean, the guy's got a good catch radius, gets off the ball, changes directions, got top end speed, can get out of breaks, knows how to separate, and understands football. I mean, check. But he also comes to practice every day with a good attitude. I can tell everyone around him really it kind of gravitates toward him. He wants the ball. He wants to be really good, and that's, to me, clear signs that the guy's going to be pretty special and can be.
I know doing still a lot of shuffling in the two deep on the offensive line, but what do you think about this unit so far?
Yeah, I mean, right now they're broken up in three groups. They're really mixed match. That's kind of how spring is. There's a maroon group, a gold group, and a white group, and there's ones, twos all together, mixed match, which is cool. You're trying to find harder to get some chemistry that way and figure it out, but I think independently we're finding out that the O-lines come along really, really well. I think we move some centers around in different pieces. Good to have Emmett back out there. Max is doing a nice job growing through it. Sean, the young guy, is working through some center and guard. There's just, I think, a good group of guys in there that can have some position flexibility for us and provide a solid two deep. I mean, if you can get that group to 11, 12 guys, I mean, you're cooking in college football, especially in what is really the second year. That's usually a year 3, 4 thing where you're got it 2.5 deep. And there's a good group in there with some youth, some size, some strength. We're going to be able to run the ball and like to do that.
With returning players, do you watch practice film from last year, game film from last year, or is this a blank canvas for the returning players?
No, this is a complete blank canvas. It'd be unfair to do that, in my opinion. Not because you don't think there's something you can't get off of it. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things you get off of it. I just don't know what was being done. It's hard for me to say, hey, I evaluate you on something that I wasn't part of. That's not saying anything to anybody else. We're going to clean slate. We're out here. We're starting from square one. I told everyone on offense the same thing, and they've responded awesome, and they know they're going to get demanded a lot of.
Rashad is a little ahead of schedule from what Kenny initially expected.
Yeah.
How much of an advantage is it to you to be able to see him in some 11-on-11 settings?
Huge. I mean, huge. There's just no substitute right now for reps in a new system. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think to get him back out there ahead of schedule, I was so fired up. I mean, today to get him out there in any reps, I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to be a ton of rust. That's the reality of it. It doesn't matter. To hear it, to be out there, to be moving, to be able to throw balls, to be around your team, like that right now to be ahead of schedule is fantastic. I'm super fired up about that.